You're there.
I'm here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. And Abigail?
Hi. Check, check.
It's Radio Kingston. I'm Jimmy Buff, but I'm not in Kingston. I'm actually in New York City, outside at the 79th Street Boat Basin, lined up next to the Sloop Clearwater, which is here today in celebration of Pete Seeger's 100th birthday, born 100 years ago today. Right here in New York City, though I guess he was raised up in Putnam County, in Dutchess County, and then did some boarding school stuff. But New York City is always...
too.
And in Rockland County, too. Lived in Nyack for a couple of years.
Yeah, before settling and landing in Beacon. Tom Chapin, welcome to Radio Kingston.
Thank you, Jimmy. Nice to be here.
Abigail, I don't know your name.
Abigail Chapin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Family affair, right?
It is.
Boy, the Chapins are a musical family.
Well, and there's a reason for that. Part of the reason is the reason we're here today. You know, I was 12 years old when we heard the Weavers at first. My brother Harry was 14 and Steve was 11, and we listened to the Weavers at Carnegie Hall one whole summer. End of the summer, Harry said, we could do that. And we started to learn guitars and banjos, and because of Pete Seeger and of course Ronnie Gilbert and Lee Hayes and Fred Hellman and the Weavers, here I am 60 some years later, still making music, and we're celebrating this amazing character who showed America what its own music was.
Yeah, and your children, your nieces and nephews are all following that lineage, all making great music.
Well, it's true. Harry's daughter Jen is a wonderful singer-songwriter. My daughters, one of whom is sitting right next to me, Abigail and Lily, are the Chapin sisters, and if anybody wants to hear them, they're doing a show tomorrow night up in Spencertown.
Yeah. I don't know how far your listenership goes, but we'll be in Spencertown up in the Berkshires, the capital region, tomorrow night.
And they're doing a wonderful, one-of-a-kind show, first time with Cass McComb at the Clearwater.
What a terrific bill
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. And our listenership doesn't necessarily have to go that far. Our listeners have to go that far.
Right, exactly.
They can hear this on Broadway in Midtown Kingston, and it's not that far to Spencer.
Yeah.
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 The legacy of Pete Seeger, of course, is in so many people's minds as an environmentalist, but you're just pointing out his legacy as a musician. When did you cross paths with him in person?
At a funeral. My mother's first cousin Arthur died unexpectedly one summer, and at the funeral we were expected to sing. The Chapin boys were. I was 17 or 18 or something like that. And who shows up but Pete Seeger and Toshi Seeger? And it turned out that Arthur's wife was a great friend of Toshi's and gone to school with her. So unexpectedly there's Pete and Toshi, and I'm backstage in a bedroom, sort of tuning up, you know, and I was talking to Toshi. And said, you know, this is the first really close person of my friend, somebody in my family who had died. I said, I don't know how I could sing. And she goes, of course you can. That's what you do. You sing, let them cry. And we went out there, and it was a kind of a, you know, like a Quaker thing. They were religious, so everybody's sitting around, and somebody gets up and talks about Arthur, and then sits down. But halfway through, Pete picks up his 12-string and goes, belong to everything, turn, 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 and sings those great words in that great song. And that was the first time, and many times, that I've been with Pete, where I thought, this is the perfect guy singing the perfect song at this moment. And that was my introduction to Pete in person.
Played with them a number of times over the years,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Clearwater festivals, and still carrying on the tradition. I saw you actually MC at Chefs for Clearwater.
My goodness!
A couple autumns ago, which is a great food event that Clearwater hosts.
It's not a great event as the host, but it was really fun to be there, and all this wonderful food and up at the CIA.
Yeah, the Culinary Institute.
Sure.
Yeah, you're competing with incredible food creations, but you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a banjo.
I do.
With you here. Abigail has the guitar. You want to try some dockside music?
Let's do something of Pete's. Don't you know it's darkest before the dawn? That thought keeps me moving on. If we could heed these early warnings, the time is now. Quite early morning.
That's outstanding. That's Tom and Abigail Chapin here dockside, 79th Street Boat Basin, as we celebrate Pete Seeger's 100th birthday today. I was listening to a bunch of Pete Seeger interviews over the past couple of days, and he was relating that he sort of got his start in music by being asked by Alan Lomax to sing some cowboy songs that Alan's dad had transcribed, and he was just doing it kind of for the money. He was, you know, he got paid $25, which was a good amount of money, and he
In the
started
30s or whenever it was.
yeah, and he started to learn these songs. And then in the interview, he kind of sort of bemoaned, because he said he's a guy who always sees two sides of things. And I think you probably, having known him for a lot of years, knew that about him. But said that that recorded music started getting so popular that people stopped singing around the kitchen table or in the living room. Not so with your family.
Well, I mean, Abigail can talk to this.
Yeah, I was going to
better than
actually
I
direct
can,
that to
because
Abigail,
you
saying,
could- yeah.
what were the first songs that you learned to sing as a family? Did you do that?
Is a year and a half younger than me, so we did a lot of in the car to keep us from fighting over who was crossing the midline. They always made us sing rounds. They were like, okay, now we're gonna sing By the Waters of Babylon. Now we're gonna sing, and so all these different kind of complicated rounds when we were little, and we would share a part, and then we learned to sing our own part and to carry it that way. But it became kind of like a game. That's what's good about singing complicated songs. I mean, complicated for a child. They became like it was a game to see if we could stick on our part and stay in tune and not forget the words. And we sang a ton of folk songs, lots of folk songs, but then also lots of, you know, Beatles songs, Beach Boys songs, which, you know, in the modern sense are our folk songs, because they are the songs that everyone knows, and you can bust them out around a campfire. And
We'd also, he had an Uncle Harry and a dad, Tom. I guess Harry, you didn't know, you were younger.
Harry was...
Jessica did that. But very often they'd get up on stage and, you know, pull them up on stage and sing. And then one day, up in Nova Scotia, the three daughters came to me and said, listen, can we rehearse? You know? And so we worked out, remember when the
Well,
music...
this was for many years before that. He would say, come to my concert today. I'm just playing in Westchester and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Connecticut, somewhere nearby, and it'll be nice. We'll go for the day. And we'd say, we'll go, but as long as you promise not to call us up on stage. And he broke that promise every single time. Every time. And yet we fell for it again.
And you know what? They sang great. It was hard not to, you know, sure, whatever you want.
We're still falling for it. I mean, look at me here.
I
was
walked
like,
up.
my 3-year-old has never seen the Clearwater, or she's probably seen it as a baby. And I was like, we should go. He's in the city. We'll go. And she's actually on the boat with her grandma right now, walking around. I can see them.
Yeah.
It's the next
but,
generation starting already.
Here I am.
And necessary
Radio
that they
interview.
start.
Yes,
Wonderful thing, yeah.
And
So
that is one of the great things, of course, about the Clearwater and about Pete, was a sense that it was a teaching operation always. You know, his concerts were, his interviews were, you know, and it was never about himself. It was about teaching something and moving it forward. And this boat behind us has done astonishing work, much bigger and larger than you ever expect from this little sloop sitting here on the Hudson.
And we grew up in Brooklyn, and then in Rockland County, in a river town, and the Clearwater docked in Piermont. Not every year, but when it did, all the schools went. And whether we were in nursery school or in high school, we went and were on the Clearwater, and that had nothing to do with our familial connection to Pete. It was just something that all schools in the area did, and that's really, really special, and something that is, I think, unique to this boat.
with your sister and your music these days, you could sort of trace a lineage back to that folk music that you sang in the car. Did you ever rebel? Was there a goth phase for you? Was there a metal phase, or is
They
there
moved to
still
California.
somewhere?
That was.
We did, yes, we did rebel for sure. And when we started our band, we lived in California, and even though we were singing acoustic music, but we didn't really consider it folk exactly. And it was a little goth, honestly. Like, everything was minor, and everything was like pretty sardonic and ironic and a little dark. And we definitely were like, no sing-alongs, we're never doing that. We only played in rock clubs. When we played in an actual folk venue, people were really confused by us. They're like, "You're so nice. Why are your songs so upsetting?" But now, you know, we have kids of our own. We've come around. We don't play those songs so much anymore.
Yeah.
And also that whole weekend after the year after Pete died, when you guys were part of the celebration here in the city, and you guys did all 5 days. I thought that was kind of a watershed for you guys to realize the power of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that, like it or not, you're a folk family, man.
Like it or not, we're folkies.
And it comes back to that, right? It comes back to having an affection. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to step away.
Yeah, step away, exactly.
Find your own thing. Really, you have to. You know, my dad was a jazz drummer, and this is pretty far from the big band stuff.
Yeah.
And we found our own way to make music, and of course within the family you have so many things that you learn without even knowing it. You know, because you watch your parents and your grandparents doing this music, and so when you become a band, it's like, I remember one of Abigail's old boyfriends says, you know, it's not fair. Most people, you know, you rehearse, you get, you know, you work in somebody's basement and you're playing music, and you guys get up in front of 1,000 people and sing. You know, that's how you would learn this stuff. You know.
Well, maybe that's not fair to us, honestly.
Yeah,
there's a lot of YouTube videos that I wish did not exist.
We're talking with Tom and Abigail Chapin. Pete Seeger's 100th birthday is actually today, born May 3rd, 1919. We're at the 79th Street Boat Basin, broadcasting from New York City back to Kingston and beyond. And, you know, you've got the banjo still, and you've got the guitar still. You might sing them together again.
Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore. Hallelujah. Sister helped to trim the sail. Hallelujah. Sister helped to trim the sail. One of the things about Pete, he taught us so many songs that came from so many different places. This is from, I think, one of the islands in the Caribbean, you know. And Jordan's river is chilly and wide. Hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah. Oh, Michael rowed the boat ashore.
Outstanding. Tom and Abigail Chapin. Thank goodness for those car rides, huh? Thank you for participating in our broadcast today.
Oh,
and then
pleasure.
You've got some other press obligations to get to this afternoon here on the
I think
dock.
that's happening. It's sort of beginning to beckon.
I see that.
Thanks so much, Jimmy.
You bet, and thanks for being
Onward and upward.
here. Excellent. See you at Clearwater.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep, bye-bye. The Clearwater Festival is June 15th and 16th, and there's more of Tom and Abigail there. And if you go to the Clearwater Festival website and get some tickets today, enter the code RK at checkout. You're going to get yourself 30% discount on tickets. We're live from New York City. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Laura Hartman.
Jimmy, did you meet Greg?
Yeah, of course I am.